So today we are going to understand some of the concepts of the organizational behavior. In order to avoid wastage of any time, you can go through the index uh, of the content that I'm going to present in the description. So if you find you have the related topic, you can cope up with the video. Otherwise, you can skip to the playlist. Okay, so now let's get started. So our first topic is the introduction to organization behavior. So as the name suggests, today the whole topic will be the main foundations of the organizational behavior. Now coming to the point, the first topic is the 3 levels of organizational behavior. So here as you can see, we have 3 levels. Now the first level is individual level. So here when we are talking about a specific person, we see what is a person, what is the personality, what is the skills, what is his mental behavior, how he reacts to different situations. So all these kind of things that we deal at an individual person, that comes under individual level. So whatever level we are considering, our main focus is to identify the organizational behavior at that level. So here one person. Now coming to group, here we are focused on how the teamwork goes. Now what are the factors which are affecting any teamwork, their coordination, or any kind of such factors which gives us any information regarding the group activities. Okay, so here we can consider leadership, politics, powers, and how those fluctuates when we have a different set of people forming different set of groups. So here everything we are dealing at a group level. Now coming to organizational level, we have the factors which affect people at the group level and at the last level, that is an individual level. So in this level we can consider the culture of the organization in which the context is going on, or we can say what is the management, what is the environment, and all the other factors which affects the below levels. Okay, so those kind of things we study under organization levels. So that was all about the 3 levels of the organizational behavior. Now the next topic is the scope of organizational behavior. In this topic of scope, we are considering the actions. So what kind of actions can be categorized in terms of organizational behavior? Okay, so the first subcategory was the psychology. So in this we consider what are the relationships between the groups working, what are the trainings needed, what are the traits that are required for the specific skill set, how motivated a person is, how he is affecting the other people. So all that here psychology is in terms of a single person. Okay, now social psychology is how a person behaves when he is with suppose a group one kind of people, like who are his friends, how he behaves when he is with his friends, how he behaves when he is with his colleagues, like formal, informal, how he behaves when he is with his family. So that thing comes under social psychology. Now industrial psychology is like, here we are segregating how people behaves in their work environment and in their normal life environment. So for suppose my mother is teaching in the same school in which I am studying. So there my mom will be behaving with me differently, and when coming to home she will be behaving with me in a different manner. So that thing comes under industrial psychology. Now the final thing is sociology. Here we consider how our environment is working. Like when we are talking about a specific organization, its environment will be its competitor, okay, its foundation, its employees, and the market in which it is working. So all those factors we consider in sociology. So here we are more focused on how it behaves with the environment. Now behave in the sense how it is hiring, okay, how it is measuring the performance, what are the metrics it is considering, so which companies it is considering as a competitor, which it is considering as a mate. So all these things comes under the sociology, everything that is related to the environment. In cultural anthropology, we consider what are the social, ethical, non-ethical beliefs of a person. Okay, now in terms of nature, science, politics, how is the knowledge how is the knowledge in terms of core skills, how is the knowledge in terms of non-core skills, like how widened the person is in terms of cultural things. And here we have something called anthropology, so which is specifically used for understanding the effect of culture of a person on the organization behavior. Okay, now next come is the political science. So it's political science. You can on the surface, like on the surface level, we can say there is like politics going everywhere. It is not like it's a bad, it might be favored to someone, it might not be favored to someone. It is not like who does the politics is only for the betterment of his thing. So it covers the entire environment. Because of our current situation and the way we use the term politics, we have created a bad scenario of the term, but in actual that is not the thing. And when we are working in any environment, either we are the one who is doing the politics or we are the one who is involved in the politics, but somehow the politics includes everyone in the organization. So it is not a bad thing, it has both pros, cons, a good phase, a bad phase. But yeah, that is a political science. Next comes the economics. So this deals with the complete finance, the growth, the downgrade or the down phase of the organization. It deals with the production, consumption, analytics, and everything that helps in the management of a organization. And next comes is our semantics. Now coming to semantics, this is completely a grammatical thing, we can say, communication process. So what are the words we are using, what are the jargons we are using, with are we having a formal meeting, are we in a non-formal meeting, so what is our aim, intention. So everything related to communication come under semantics. And now the final one is our physiology. So in this we study about all the living organisms and how it affects our organization. So that is all the surface level actions which we are seeing the scope of organization behavior. So this disciplines how it contributes, like these disciplines are the subcategories and the categories which is saying contributes to our organization behavior, that can be considered as a parent category of the disciplines. Now our next thing is the importance of the organizational behavior. In context of attaining organizational effectiveness, we see what is the position of the organization at any point of time with the help of various metrics, efficiencies, the kind of people working and what are the kind of people that has the requirement, what are the positions need to be fulfilled. So it's like our complete intention in this point is to get the effectiveness of the organization by comparing its present state and the state that we are intending to get. Okay, now sustaining the change in business environment is like when, for suppose now the COVID situation is going on and the MNCs are giving work from home. So that is just an example, but sustaining changes like you suddenly got a competitor. Okay, so what actions you need to take. And there's one more scenario, like you don't have a competitor but you don't want to give a scope for any other competitor to get into the niche of your market. So that's how you see the continuous changes in the environments, policies, governments, requirements of people, seasonal changes. So all these changes just goes on, changes with the time. So how to mitigate all those changes, how to get our company or organization growth in every kind of situation, that we deal under sustaining change in business environment. Now overcoming competition is, this will be the part of the second point, that is sustaining change, because even the overcoming competition is nothing but a change that we are bringing in our organization. So here our main focus will be to see in our niche, in our market, what is the thing that could kill us, or what is the changes that we need to get to increase our turnover or to increase our audience. So all those things will be coming under overcoming competitions. Now finally, fulfilling human need. So here if we see, whatever things that organization is doing is because of not customer, is because of employee first. So there's a good quotes like employees first, customer second. So intention behind the fulfilling human need here says that take care of your employees, give them a good training, give them a proper holidays, vacations, make them feel comfortable, satisfied, then the efficiency would increase in such a manner. So fulfilling human needs deals with how an organization's management deal with the employees. Okay, now The next topic will be a feature of organizational behavior. So here features in the sense elements of organizational behavior. So it says what are the different contexts that we need to see which are used to form an organization. Okay, so first category will be the people. So it might be a sweeper, it might be a CEO, it might be a manager, anything, but all these people together form an organization behavior. Now structure, we can see the level of hierarchies we are having. It is a flat hierarchy, or it is a top to down, bottom to, how the communication goes. It is a task based or a decision based structure. So all that thing will be coming in the structure. So it basically how the control goes, how the decision making goes, that will be considered in the structure. Now next is the technologies that is used in the organization. It might be a MICR, it might be a facial recognition, it might be a audio recognition. So all these kind of technologies that are used in the organization, what are the changes need to be brought, or what are the changes that are brought but didn't gave a significant amount of effect in terms of profit, but had caused some negatively impact. So all those things related to technology will be coming under the third category. Now final thing is the environment. So here we have two environment is a self-explanatory term, but coming to internal external, when we are talking about an organization, our internal environment will be our managers, our teammates, people in the organizations. Okay, now the external will be the policies, budgets that the government is saying, the rules that any specific organization need to follow because of its market, or because of its environment, or because of its competitor. So everything outside its organization will be external, and others will be the internal. Okay, next thing is our approaches to organizational behavior. Now classical approach is completely based on the behavior, emphasized on planning of work, technical details, specialization, principles, concepts of management. So we are going to study three principles, and those principles and concepts of management used in a hybrid format to form the three management that you can see: scientific, bureaucratic, and administrative management. So before getting into those three kind of managements, first we'll study the three principles. So first principle is the principle of coordinations. So this principle emphasizes that more good is the team, more is the unity in the team, more is the efficiency produced. That's it. Now the second principle is the scalar chain principles. So in this principle, to avoid any kind of conflicts, this principle emphasizes the flow of decision or orders from top to bottom. There is no such thing like if any worker or any colleague has any query, he can ask someone who is at the top of his hierarchy. So there is no such thing. Only the decision, the orders comes from top to bottom. So that is the emphasis and the scalar chain principle. Now the final and the third principle is the functional principle. So here, if suppose there is a person who is specialized in a specific task, only that task will be given to a person. So basically the belief behind this principle is more the specialized a person is in any specific function, more is the efficiency, less is the time taken by the person, more is the throughput given. So that is the function of the functional principle. I'll repeat these three principles again: the principle of coordination, the scalar chain principle, and the functional principle. Now coming to the management division done in the classical approach. So first is the scientific management. So here we can see the term scientific itself says that scientifically training will be given, no specific rule of thumb, no specific intention will be there every time. It changes slightly based on the logics, the certainty, the environment, the work is going on, the situation that is going on, slightly changes. So there is a cooperation between the management and the labor rather than the conflict, because they believe scientifically that the situation changes. Okay, now bureaucratic management says that it considers a whole organization, not only one, a group of set of organization as a big society, and this one organization as a part of the society. So it makes sure that overall groups of organizations work in a formal manner. So it focuses on structure, specialization, stability, prediction, so all those things, and it has some nested concepts of management which we are not touching as of now. But basically bureaucratic management is considers one organization as a part of a big organization. So it makes sure that only one organization's work doesn't affect others in any negative way. So it makes sure that all the predicting, scalability, everything is taken care before starting any kind of task. Now the final thing is the administrative management. So here the administration itself is saying we have some points, some principles which are proposed by Henry Fayol. Now some of the points that comes under this administrative management as division of work, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, scalar chain. This is one of the principle of the classical approach that we have studied, and the centralization, equity. So a complete administrative domain wise terms are given under the administrative management. So this was our classical approach. Now next is our neoclassical approach. So in neoclassical approach, first we need to study about Hawthorne experiments. So in these three experiments, when we'll understand it like a story. In the first experiment, there were two groups made in two different rooms, in which there was more illumination, and in the other room there was less illumination. So the observation that we got here was the more the illumination, the more is the efficiency. But vice versa, that is, as the illumination got decreased, the efficiency didn't got decreased. So the study observation was, as the illumination got down, that is the light got down, the efficiency either stayed stagnant or it reduced to its normal position, that is the position that we had previously, but it never decreased. So based on this study, they came to know that not only the light, but there are many other factors which are affecting the working efficiency. So they did some more experiments. Okay, so the second experiment was in the company called Western Electric, where workers were assessed based on the rest period that they were doing, the work hours that they were doing, and various metrics were used to see. Here we didn't consider the factor of elimination, but apart from that, the n number of other factors that were used to see how the efficiency is getting affected. Now the final and the third experiment under Hawthorne's experiment was that we had some women taken in one room. So one woman was asked to prepare all the materials, and the other five women were asked to assemble, to create the final product. So based on this women's study, what they came to know is not only the environment or the rest periods, but it is the team bonding, it is the belief in the co-workers, it is the unity in the team. So all these things are also plays a significant role in the efficiency. So that was Hawthorne's experiment. Now if you see, we are seeing it as a human resource approach. Now why the name was given is because in classical approach we considered people not as actual human, we considered them as a machine. So we were continuously having the monitoring done on them as though we are doing on the machines. But in coming to neoclassical approach, after the Hawthorne's experiment, we are seeing not them as a machine but as a human resource. So here we are considering the team bonding, unity, cooperation between the individuals. So here our complete thing is like we are assuming our organization as a complete social system in which we make sure that our employee, all the workers are completely satisfied, because in terms that is the only factor which is going to affect the efficiency. So under neoclassical theory, we have three elements of it. One is a flat structure. So what flat structure says that the opposite of flat structure is tall structure. So we have suppose 10 levels of people in the organization compared to the 3 levels of people in the organization. So if we see that there is a tall structure and a flat structure, so neoclassical approach says that we should go for the flat structure, because then there will be the less number of middlemen, so there will be a fast up and down flow of decision making. Then the next element will be the decentralization. So centralization means more is the power at less number of people. So decentralization delegates the decision taking ability or roles to multiple people. So this decentralization gives the sense of the ownership to more number of people compared to decentralization. This also makes sure that if any wrong decision is going to happen, there are multiple checks going on. So even in terms of risk, even in terms of ownership, decentralization is comparatively good, but not in all scenarios. Yes, there are scenarios where centralization is good, but coming to neoclassical approach, based on the experiment, based on the factors that we talk, our decentralization is much more favorable. Now the third and the final is informal organization under neoclassical approach. So what it says that in every formal organization we have an informal sub-organization which take care of the satisfaction, physiological and psychological needs of an employee. So basically neoclassical approach has these three elements, which is decentralization, flat structure and informal organization. Now the management principle that we had was a human resource approach. Now our final approach is the modern approach. In our modern approach, our first sub approach is the system approach. So here for suppose in today's MNCs or any organization, we have HR department, we have marketing department, we have transport department. So what system approach says that all these department are a subsystems of the main system, and which coordinates with each other to finally achieve the required set of aims or intentions. Now there are these interlinks that system approach considers are, there are three interlinks. One is the communication process, one is the decision making process, and third is the balancing process. So system approach basically considers that all the work that is going on is a subsystem, and until and unless all the subsystems work together, a system aims cannot be achieved. So even if the one of the subsystem is getting affected, this effect can be seen on the system. So if the system is getting affected, the other subsystems are also indirectly getting affected. Now in the contingency approach, we can simply say that it opposes or it argues the classical approach, where classical approach used to say if we have one best management principle for any situation, it can be applied to any kind of organization in any circumstance. But what contingency approach says that the complexity, the situation, the market, everything is like differs for every situation, though the problem might be same, but the market, the situation, the circumstance varies for different organization at a different level, though the issue is same. So again, the different set of decision, different principle will be good for the same problem in the different situation. So that is what our contingency approach argues against the classical approach. So these were our three approaches of the organization behavior. Now next we have opportunities and challenges for organization behavior. And this first is the responding to globalization. So if you can see, when the expanding of the organization happens, so they can see that the culture is very different, the geographies are very different, the rules of the government, the working hours, the working nature of the people is very different. So there are n number of obstacles that come across, to which they have to tackle it properly to overcome any kind of issues to expand their branches across the globe. Now next is the managing workforce diversity. So here diversity not only deals with the gender, but the age group, the ethnicity, the mindset, everything comes into picture. Now third is the improved quality and productivity. Now once we can say that we have released a product in the market, it is good, but then our competitors come. So it is better not to wait for our competitor to overcome us, but to continuously improve the quality and at the same time productivity, which could either result in the enhancement of, for suppose, flavors or anything. But overall our intention is to not lose any kind of audience, but to increase our audience. Next is developing employer skills. So we can see that the training cost and all these things are very costly nowadays. So if company is taking all those initiatives to teach an employer, there will be a trusting between the employer and the employee. So it's like even the employer is getting benefited and even the employee is getting benefited. So there is one theory or we can say one discussion which says that if I teach my employee, there is a possibility that after gaining the knowledge he might be leaving. But the argument, the positive argument on this is, it's better I teach my employee and he leaves than compared to he learns nothing and he stays within the organization. So for that is very relevant to this developing of employer skills. Now next is the promoting innovation and changes. So we can say it has somehow dependency on fourth point, that is developing employer skills. So more the exposure a person is having, more is the creativity a person is having, more the widen, more is the decision taking role is given, we promote this kind of innovations and changes by listening to ideas, providing the environment to do the R&D. So those things will be considered in this point. Next is the coping with the temporariness. Now in this point we can consider the sudden drastic changes, like there is a sudden changes on the internet which booms the e-commerce, which gives priority to some other things. There is a sudden change in the government policies, there is a sudden change in technology. So all these drastic changes need to be considered to have the continuous growth of the organization, so that we can consider under coping with temporariness. Now next is empowering people. So more is the delegation of decision making, more is the ownership that employee feels for the organization. So that's how we empower people, because if there is a decision happening at one place and only the orders are executed by the people on the lower levels of the hierarchy, then that is like a normal machinery work, but there will be no ownership or sense of proud towards the organization. So to have that kind of emotional bonding between the organization and people, it is good to empower the people. Not only that, but to have the innovation, what we can say, to increase the innovation, to have different culture continuously getting into the manufacturing line or the organization aims. There is a continuous growth, or like it is going in a different direction, because there is always change going in the competitors environment as well, so which is a recommended thing. So empowering people not only helps to hold the employee, but also but also in the growth of the organization. Now next is the encouraging the ethical behavior. So more the transparency is, more is the clear rules are there, more is the direct talking or one-on-one happening, communication happening between the higher levels of the hierarchy and the lower levels of hierarchy. The encouragement happens, as if suppose any wrong thing can happen. Now how the management deals it with it, not only improves, it not only avoids that happening again, but also make sure that the other employees are aware of these kind of frauds or anything that is happening, or what is the worst case situation or worst action that could be taken against an employee for doing any kind of such wrong activities, unethical behavior. So in that manner we can encourage the ethical behavior. Now final thing is our scientific aspects of organization behavior. So here again we have simply categorized all the subcategories into a main 4 points. So previously we had nearly 12 to 15 points, so all those are at the lower level. Now scientific aspects is like a higher level of all the topics that we have studied so far. So diversity at workplace, it is nothing but the age, ethnicity, gender, mindset, okay, how wide a person is exposed. Now next is employee trust towards an organization. So this deals with the delegation of rules, decentralization, flat structure. And the third point is quality and flexibility at work. Now this comes with the innovation, the change, okay, the ownership that we give to an employer towards the organization. The fourth point is employee selection and retention. So once the employee is selected and we nurture it, we give continuous training and all. So not only in terms of learning, in terms of pay, everything is going to happen. So that is called employment selection, because we can see there is a continuously migration by the people from one organization to another organization. So if we make sure that we are following the first 3 points properly, we make sure that the employee is given the decision making role and what are the changes that he want, whether we are listening to him or her or him or not. So all those things play a major role in retention of an employee. So these are the concepts we had in our basic concepts of organization behavior. Next, so you can find it in the index to avoid any kind of time wastage. But in the next video we are going to understand the individual behavior, so which is the first level of the organizational behavior. Now in that way we are going to dig into depths of each topic. So with respect to the introduction, if you have any queries, you can write down in the comment section. Thank you.